Picture this. It's a warm summer evening in 1957. Your best friend just pulled up outside in his freshly waxed Chevy Bel Air. The radio's playing Elvis, and the night is full of possibilities. The drive-in is showing a double feature, the malt shop is packed with friends, and the open road is calling your name. Hey there, fellow time travelers. Today we're sliding behind the wheel for a joyride through one of America's most memorable chapters. When cars weren't just transportation, they were the heartbeat of our culture, the center of our social lives, and for many teenagers, their first real taste of freedom. So buckle up as we explore how those magnificent chrome chariots of the 1950s and muscle machines of the 1960s did so much more than get us from point A to point B. They completely transformed how Americans lived, loved, and created memories that still bring smiles decades later. For American families in the post-war boom, owning a car wasn't just convenient. It literally reshaped how they lived. As suburbs grew and spread outward from cities, that shiny new Ford or Chevy in the driveway became as essential as the house itself. The family car was command central for so many of life's important moments. Remember piling into the back seat with your siblings with no seatbelts or air conditioning? Those station wagons like the iconic 1957 Chevrolet Nomad or the enormous 1959 Dodge Custom Sierra were basically living rooms on wheels. Dad behind the wheel, mom in the passenger seat with the map, and kids playing license plate bingo in the back. That was the American family portrait of the era. And don't forget that special moment when Dad would proudly wash the car every weekend while the neighborhood kids gathered around to admire it. The Dinah Shore Chevrolet commercials had it right with their famous jingle, "See the USA in your Chevrolet," and millions of Americans did exactly that. The family vacation was transformed from a luxury to an annual tradition, with cars making it possible for middle-class families to explore their country like never before. The 1950s and 60s gave birth to the Great American Road Trip. Suddenly, packing up the car and hitting the open highway became the vacation of choice for families across the country. And why not? Gas was cheap, around 25 cents a gallon, and a network of new highways was expanding across the nation. This new car culture sparked an entire roadside ecosystem designed to serve travelers. Howard Johnson's restaurants with their distinctive orange roofs promised clean bathrooms and 28 flavors of ice cream. Holiday Inn motels guaranteed consistent quality for the weary traveler. And let's not forget those quirky roadside attractions that became destinations in themselves. Remember those giant dinosaurs in Cabazon, California? The world's largest ball of twine in Kansas? South Dakota's Wall Drug with its free ice water? These roadside wonders became must-see stops for families, landmarks you'd brag about visiting when you got back home and showed the slide projector photos to the neighbors. The cars themselves were perfect for these adventures. Those massive trunks could hold enough luggage for a family of 5 for 2 weeks. The wide bench seats meant Dad could drive all day in comfort while Mom tended to the kids. And with those big V8 engines, even mountain roads were no challenge. For no group did the car culture matter more than America's teenagers. For the first time in history, young people had both mobility and privacy, a combination that would forever change what it meant to be young in America. When a 16-year-old got that driver's license and access to the family car, or if they were really lucky, their own set of wheels, they gained a freedom previous generations couldn't imagine. The 1955 Chevrolet, the 1957 Ford Fairlane, or even a hand-me-down Plymouth became tickets to independence. Dating completely transformed. Instead of sitting in the family living room under watchful parental eyes, couples could drive off to find their own adventures. No wonder so many love stories from this era begin with, "He picked me up in his ... For guys especially, cars became extensions of their personalities. What you drove said everything about who you were or who you wanted to be. The cool guy with the convertible, the rebel with the stripped-down hot rod, the responsible one with the sensible sedan. Let's meet in the lobby. Well, actually, there was no lobby at a drive-in theater. That was the beauty of it. You brought your own private space to a public event. Drive-in theaters boomed during this golden age, growing from just a handful before the war to over 4,000 across America by the late 1950s. For about $1 per carload, families could enjoy double features under the stars without worrying about babysitters or noisy strangers. But after dark, these same venues transformed into teenage paradises. The back row was notoriously known as Lover's Lane, though I'll leave what happened there to your imagination. The drive-in theater became such a cultural icon that it featured in countless movies, TV shows, and songs celebrating American youth culture. Drive-in restaurants were just as revolutionary. Places like Bob's Big Boy and Mel's Drive-In became the places to see and be seen. Car hops on roller skates delivered burgers and milkshakes right to your window, and the parking lot became the community's social hub. Remember cruising the main drag on Friday nights? Driving slowly down the strip, checking out other cars, looking for friends, maybe showing off a little? That ritual happened in virtually every town in America, turning ordinary streets into impromptu car shows and social gatherings. What have you got under the hood? Those magic words launched a million friendships in garages across America. For many young men in the 50s and 60s, customizing cars wasn't just a hobby, it was an art form, a competitive sport, and a way to form bonds that would last a lifetime. Hot rodding took off in the post-war years, especially in California. The formula was simple. Take an older, affordable car, usually pre-war Fords, strip away unnecessary weight, and modify the engine for maximum performance. The 1932 Ford, the legendary Deuce Coupe immortalized by the Beach Boys, became the holy grail of hot rodders. Working on cars taught technical skills no classroom could match. Kids learned about mechanics, engineering, bodywork, and painting, all while developing problem-solving abilities and the satisfaction of creating something with their own hands. Many professional mechanics, engineers, and designers got their start tinkering in their parents' garages. But the real magic happened in the relationships formed over open hoods and skinned knuckles. Friends who spent weekends helping each other install new carburetors or chop a roof often stayed friends for decades. Many would become best men at each other's weddings years later. Still telling stories about that time, they rebuilt an engine overnight before a big race. Some car clubs from this era still meet today. Gray-haired members proudly displaying the same cars they customized as teenagers, passing their knowledge and passion to new generations. While we've been focusing on what these cars meant to our culture, let's take a quick cruise through some of the most beloved models that defined these decades. The 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air, with its distinctive tail fins and gold grille, is perhaps the most recognizable car of the 1950s. If you close your eyes and picture a 50s car, chances are you're seeing a 57 Chevy. The 1959 Cadillac Eldorado took tail fins to their spectacular peak, standing nearly 3 feet tall. These weren't just cars, they were rolling sculptures expressing America's jet-age optimism. The Ford Thunderbird debuted as a sporty two-seater in 1955 before evolving into the more luxurious Squarebird by 1958. It was marketed as a personal luxury car. Not quite a family vehicle, not quite a sports car, but something uniquely American. And who could forget the 1964 Ford Mustang? Introduced to the New York World's Fair, it sold over 400,000 units in its first year alone, creating the pony car category and becoming a symbol of 1960s youth and freedom. For pure muscle, the 1964 Pontiac GTO started the muscle car revolution by putting a big engine in a mid-sized car. With its tri-power carburetor option pushing out 348 horsepower, it was a stoplight terror and weekend warrior. Here are 5 fascinating nuggets about our car-crazy culture from the 50s and 60s. Drive-in theaters reached their peak in 1958 with over 4,000 locations nationwide. Today, fewer than 400 remain, making them truly nostalgic treasures. The first McDonald's with the golden arches was specifically designed to be visible from the highway to attract motorists. A perfect example of how car culture shaped American business. The custom car trend got so big that by the late 1950s, major auto manufacturers were hiring custom car builders like George Barris and the Alexander brothers as consultants. Route 66, known as America's Main Street, stretched 2,448 miles from Chicago to Santa Monica, and became so culturally significant that it inspired songs, TV shows, and remains a bucket list drive for road trip enthusiasts. The average family car from the 1950s was nearly 18 feet long, about 3 feet longer than today's typical sedan. From first dates at the drive-in to family vacations across the country, from teenagers finding freedom behind the wheel to lifelong friendships formed over open hoods. The cars of the 1950s and 60s weren't just machines. They were the vehicles that carried America into a new era of prosperity, mobility, and social change. Those chrome-laden beauties and muscle-bound beasts weren't perfect by today's standards. They guzzled gas, lacked safety features, and needed constant maintenance. But they had something many modern cars don't: personality, style, and the ability to make memories that last a lifetime. If this joyride down memory lane brought back some of your own car stories, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. What was your first car? Did you ever go to a drive-in theater? Or maybe you have photos of family road trips from this golden era you'd like to share? Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed cruising through these memories with me. Subscribe to our channel for bi-weekly doses of nostalgia and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next journey through America's remarkable past. Let's meet again in 2 weeks. Until then, keep those memories in high gear and I'll see you on the next trip down memory lane.